So this screencast is going to address the issue of enumerated thesis, the three parts that are in this thesis. And I know the directions ask you to have three parts in your thesis, and there seems to be a confusion because you have three parts in this particular thesis statement here, and when we're writing that one paragraph essay, there seems to be a disconnect. Students seem to want to address all three of these items, and it's just too much for one paragraph. In all reality, we should have three supporting paragraphs in each issue being addressed. That would be the structure. Your opening would be over here. We're not asking you to do that just yet. And so students are falling into the category of either, two categories. They're coming up with this three part, or they're just coming up with one part. Once we get to the last marker period where you have to have three supporting paragraphs, this would be the requirement. So when we're looking at this for an essay during the year that has one supporting paragraph, there's a couple of items. When I look at this thesis, in the 1950s and 60s, consumers were able to choose from various new automobile features. I guess they're addressing the V8 engine. I probably would have broken these down into two separate issues. Whatever. The tail fin becomes another point, and then air conditioning. So each one of these should have its own separate paragraph. But students writing in the second market period, first market period, they feel that within that one paragraph, they have to address all three of these items. And that just becomes too complicated because then you have just one source for each item. So future essays, or for all essays, here's what we'll do. We'll have one thesis statement and have 3 points that you are going to argue. However, your supporting paragraph only needs to focus on one. So that will force you to find three hard sources that address this particular item, or the air conditioning argument, or the V8 argument, or the tail fin argument. But I do want you to practice coming up with the thesis that has the 3 points. So we'll continue to have these for the essays. The only difference is I will accept from this point forward you focusing on one of these issues. Take a look at this one. Sexual revolution beginning in the 60s challenged society's view and attitude towards premarital sex with the availability of birth control and sex ed in schools increasing. So what I like about this thesis statement, they have only two items, the availability of birth control and education in schools. I don't know how I feel about the use of the word increasing because then that suggests you're probably going to use data. This will be acceptable. So at the essay with one paragraph, I will expect three sources on this issue to be addressed here. You can include this second issue in your thesis statement, and that's totally fine. And I will not look for this particular sources that address this. I will be looking for sources that address either this issue or this particular issue. Go to another one. Texas shooting was not an act of terror, but a man suffering from his barbaric responses due to his multiple mental illness, blocking his control over his emotions and ability to keep his thoughts in check. So with this one, there seems to be a lot of issues. I don't know what barbaric responses mean. Seems to want to argue mental illness. That could be one paragraph that has three sources. Blocking control over his ability to keep his thoughts in check. Oof. So this is going to be difficult to support. I don't know what kind of evidence they're going to use for this. And maybe there's a better way to address all three of these points with one particular item. I just don't know. I don't have the sources for this essay that the student is planning to write. The 50s, 60s was golden age for American auto industry due to the increased completion of automobile companies, the construction of interstate freeways, and the boom of suburban development. So again, we have three parts. If this was the regular essay, I will expect to see three sources on each point. However, since we are writing a one paragraph, you can still give me your 3 points here, but you have the option of focusing only on this point for support. So you don't need to try to address all three of these items within one paragraph. You can if you were writing three paragraphs, but we're not. So if we're not going to devote one paragraph to each issue, let's change this and let's pick one of these and let's create one essay of support, one paragraph of support that has three separate sources that address this particular point. Hopefully this helps with some of the confusion out there.